Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Collateral Nation. Actually, hey, wait a minute. Dr. Kevin, you just put the baby down. Pause for PAD. PAWS, pause for PAD. Where's your baby? It's a good way to
There.
kick things off. Everyone loves our furry friends. You know, you walk 22 minutes more each day if you do have a furry friend, a dog in particular. There he is. That's a great way to start the show today. It's exciting because we're going to be talking about what you can do when your doctor says there's nothing they can do for your poor circulation in your legs. And we have a special announcement, so make sure you stay till the end, maybe halfway through at least, because we're going to talk about PAD Awareness Month, PAD Awareness Month for September. And we have a challenge for you. You are going to
Go,
reach
guys.
your personal best by the end of the month of September. And we're
Go.
going to help you do that step by
Go.
step every single week. We're going to give you some new tools and techniques to get you on your way to living your best life, despite that poor circulation in your legs known as peripheral artery disease. We're going to help you grow your natural bypasses. So get ready. Today, we're going to start with just in general talking about your doctor says to you, I'm so sorry. There's nothing we can do. We can't go in with wires and balloons and stents and little roto rooting devices. We can't bypass because you're not a surgical candidate. So, what can you do? Now, even more is let's say you're in the that's advanced stage PAD, but what if you're in the early stage PAD and your doctor says, you're not bad enough for us to actually treat because it'll just lead to a revolving door of treatments. And we don't want that because it'll take you just one step closer to amputation. What can you do? Well, we're going to talk about that today, right, Kevin?
Correct.
So you have a little surprise first before my surprise halfway through. You had a big accomplishment this week that is going to help every single person who is tuning in right now to live their best life and actually take their PAD health into their own hands. You're
Oh
going to
yeah.
tell us what it is?
Oh,
Or are
you
you
want me?
going to leave us hanging?
No. I just published a training plan, which was basically the summary of all the work I've been doing since I started having these symptoms in 2014. 2015, the ABI confirmed it. Subsequent ABIs have shown ankle brachial index
Hmm.
tests have shown that my right popliteal behind my knee is 100% blocked. Fortunately, having been Ironman triathlete for years, I've been growing collaterals anyway, but you don't have to wait to grow collaterals, any time to start. So it got steadily worse. And so I started to, as a scientist, a researcher, and a pathologist, I started studying the problem. I realized that I could grow new vessels, collaterals, that's well known,
Yep.
around those blocked arteries. And so training continued. I managed to continue racing, though I'm having trouble with full distance runs. That's really difficult, but I'm working on that. And so the changes I've made and the training approaches I've taken, which are designed basically on A, growing collaterals, B, minimizing effort as I walk and run by optimal body movement, and 3, improving the way blood flows through my feet and up through my calves by changing the mechanics of my feet. And all that is described in my latest training book, which is called Peripheral Arterial Disease Training Plan for PAD Heroes.
Love
Uh,
it.
to me, the most important thing is the real heroes are the people who fight back, people who are here. I don't like to think of myself that way, more as, I guess, a mentor to some degree or a peer expert. We badly need peer experts because once the doctors sign off and say they can do no more, which my excellent vascular surgeon said to me in 2015, it's then up to us. And so all the stuff I've learned, I've collapsed into that book, which is on Amazon right now, but it'll be elsewhere. It's an ebook, but importantly, there are 33 links to videos I've made over the last, I guess, 20 years that are instructional and clarify the narrative. And so that's up and available right now. We'll probably give away some free copies for September for PAD month. I will create the paperback once I've had some feedback from people and make minor improvements, and I'll create the paperback. It's easy to change an ebook. It's hard to change a paperback. It takes quite a bit of work. Anyway, so that is my surprise. What's your surprise, Kym?
Okay, are we ready for this? You and I are working together to do the 5K in 30 days. So the 30-day 5K challenge is what we are going to do for September. And so we want everyone to get involved throughout the month of September. We are going to be helping you to track your progress. And hopefully by the end of the month, September 30th, the last day of P.A.D Awareness Month, you will be able to at least walk. Doesn't matter what pace, we want you to walk a 5K. If you don't want to know what a 5K is, I believe it's 3.1 miles. So really not that far. But if you're only walking 10 to 20 steps at a time before you have to rest, it does seem daunting. Now, there's no time limit on how long it should take you to do the 5K, as long as by September 30th, you are doing that. And even on September 30th, you're able to put to work everything that you've learned throughout the month that we're going to be teaching you, or should I say, Kevin Morgan is going to be teaching you based on the theories that he's written down in his new book. All of that is going to come together for you, and hopefully throughout the month, you are going to be able to walk at the very least a 5K, 3 miles in a shot. Doesn't matter if you have to rest along the way, or how many times you have to rest, but we're just going to get you there. We're going to give you that goal. And I think that that's a great goal. There are all these walking challenges for doctors and, general patients to help raise money for all of these other organizations. This is not about raising money. PAD costs us all enough. We want you to feel better. That is our goal. It should be everybody's goal, is just to help you walk to feel better. And Kevin, that's what we're going to do, right?
Correct.
So every single week, we hope you will join us every Wednesday, just like this, just like always. But we're going to map out using Kevin's book. Hopefully, you can pick it up ahead of time and follow along throughout the month of September, with his training plan. And we're going to get you there. We're all on September 30th. We're all going to make that 5K on the 30th day.
Kym, would you like me to go through the sequence bit by bit, and people can ask questions in my the 20 steps in the training?
I would love it.
It took a lot of time and effort. I had to think this through. I lived this over the last 10 years, and it took me a while to work out what was really important. And so, number one, you've got PAD, you have claudication, pain in your calf when you walk, especially uphill. You have numb feet. It may be hard when you get out of bed, your feet feel weird, and the pain can just stop you dead in your tracks. Maybe you're even having some discoloration of your feet, which means you really need to get on with the job of improving blood flow through your feet. So the first chapter of the book, and it's linked to an old video of mine, is you have to grieve your loss. When you get PAD, it's like anything else. You're losing function and gaining pain. You have to grieve the new life. You now have PAD and you have to deal with it. And it's no good sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. That won't fix the problem. So grieving it and letting it go is the hardest thing for people to do, but people do it. I had a bit of practice in my life with a divorce. It's the same process. You have to grieve the past, be in the present, and get on with the work. So basically, gird your loins, make a plan, and move on. And it's easy said, but it ain't that easy to do. What do you think, Kym?
It's easier said than done to do that, but I think that that is the only way forward, is to say, you know what I used to do, it is what it is. I'm not there right now, and there's no benefit in actually continuing to, put yourself in this vicious cycle heading south, going down this rabbit hole of well, I can no longer run. And we do hear that a lot. I know that traditional PAD is something that is progressive over time, but we do have, and I'm sure that I have sent several your way, that people have called us and said, hey, I don't understand. I was running, I was a runner. Suddenly I get a leg cramp and I can no longer run. And then my doctor's telling me to walk, walk, walk to make this better. But in some of those situations, they end up with being hypercoagulable with those acute type situations. But still, a lot of doctors treat them as though they are traditional PAD patients and say, just walk through it. We're not going to clear the clot. And you know what? It just is what it is. You just have to do what you need to do to get back to what you love, which is running. If you can't run anymore, well, you know what? It is what it is. Let's do what you can do. My brother Kevin was diagnosed with a bicuspid valve defect and told that he could no longer do any and aneurysm, thoracic aneurysm, and he was told he could no longer do any sort of bodybuilding. And that was something that was a really big outlet for him. That's where a lot of his friends were. He enjoyed it. He was at the gym every day. And he had to change everything, but it took him a while to say, I'm really depressed. Like, this is stupid. My friends, I can't go hang out with my friends as much as I do anymore because my friends are all at the gym and that's like our time together. Um, he had to change everything and it took him quite a while to
Hang on a
develop
second,
a
Kym.
different type of
Excuse
regimen.
me interrupting. Mike Holm is looking for the link to get in. I wonder if Josh could send that to him, maybe.
Oh, that would be great. We can definitely do that. It's actually in our network. So you can always join our networks at our walking group, which now, as of yesterday, so excited. Kevin is one of the admins. We also have Douglas in our live studio audience. He's one of the admins for the walking group, and it is walkingsupportgroup.com. And it'll take you to our Facebook group. We also have a general support group at padsupportgroup.org, just to confuse everybody with the .org versus .com. If one doesn't work, try the other. But that's a great way. And then you look under events in the group, and the
Mike
links are there.
message me, so he can't hear any of this. So he needs the message, Facebook Messenger.
Yep, this is for all the other ones. I got my phone right here. So see it? I match actually. Thanks to my producer, Josh, I actually matched my phone today.
Well, that's true. You do. Oh, a
I
quick comment on running. In 2009, around the Boston Marathon, I qualified with a 4:07:59 time in Charlotte. So I ran close to a 4-hour marathon to qualify for the Boston Marathon. In 2014, when I was having trouble with my calf, I was finishing marathons at 7 hours. I mean, that's how bad it was. And so since then, it's been quite a struggle. Eventually, I'll work out how to run. I'll never get back to those qualifying times, but if I can get back to a 6.5-hour marathon, then I can do full Ironman distance races, because PAD doesn't affect my swim and my bike. So you find a way around the problem. But for runners, it is pretty disappointing. So I understand that. You got to let it go and do what you can. Okay, you want to move on to point 2?
Okay, point 2.
Point 2 of my book is, after you've grieved to move on, is initially when you start your training, it's a good idea, if you can afford it, to get assessment by some kind of body movement expert of your physical health. When I started full Ironman, I went to a physical therapist, and he checked all my muscles and everything. And he told me that I was in pretty good shape, but I had very weak hip adductors. These are the muscles that pull your legs together. And if you strain those, you get a groin pull, and that's really bad. So when you go from the bike to the run, that's a particular time that's dangerous. Or if you're training in the pool and you do a lot of, strokes or strain on your hips for doing that, you want to avoid those kind of things, like the breaststroke, for instance. So I had to toughen them up. I did that on a machine, an adductor machine in the gym, and now they're fine. I just have to keep an eye on them. So finding your weak spots is good. 2 ways to do that. One, a PT. The other is a sports massage therapist. They can go check your whole body out, and they'll tell you where you have a chance of risking an injury because of a weak spot. It's no different than getting your car checked. It's the same idea. And you just go once. It doesn't cost a fortune to go once. and then you can go to the gym or work out ways to strengthen those weak points. So that is lesson number 2 in my training plan.
I think that's a great one. We always tell people that when they get diagnosed with PAD, even if the facility does not have a supervised exercise therapy program, you should still talk to your doctor about getting that physical therapy referral for a certain amount of time so they can help you with your gait, they can help you with a regimen, strength training regimen, and that kind of thing, all covered by insurance. But also, because they do a full assessment of your body, they can tailor all of the exercises to your particular presentation of disease and your body type. So I do like that idea.
Hi, Mike.
And we do have Mike, our friend from the UK,
Hi
actually
guys.
joining us. He's temporarily hanging out in Canada. And he's always here on Wednesdays, which is amazing, along with our friend Douglas. And I can see that Mike's out there walking. He's getting in those steps just as I am. You know, this is a great opportunity when we do have this podcast, that if you do get out and walk and you're listening to this podcast, you have the opportunity to stop and say, hey, wait a minute, Kevin, you know what? I'm out on my walk and the heel of my foot actually is bothering me. What could be going on? It'll give Kevin a chance to say, ask you some questions and maybe give you some ideas on how to relieve that heel pain so you can walk even further and faster.
That's true. I studied it for a long time, worked it out. You have to stop and work it out. So you want to go on to chapter 3 of my plan?
I would love it.
I mean, there are 20 chapters. The 21st is becoming a peer expert, which we badly need, but we'll get to that later. Number 3 is start your body awareness training. Now, what does that mean? Most of us, and somebody here, I think it might have been Mike who said it, I'm not sure. We basically learn to walk when we're little kids, and we walk like that for the rest of our life, and we never really think about how we move around. And so you had to think about how you drove a car, because if you didn't do it right, there was plenty of feedback. But if you walk weird, like leaning back or going from side to side by not using your hips properly, or you're not engaging shoulder hip counter rotation to use your spine to make walking easier. And a quick video of yourself moving will be the first step to raising your awareness of how you actually move. After that, you can study awareness training, Feldenkrais, all those things. I come to that later. But the first trick is to listen to your body. And when you do things, be aware of how you're doing it. That's all. It's not that complicated, but it's the first step to healthy movement. So that's number 3.
And that's a good one as well. And, you know, it's interesting. When I did that, when you first told us to do that, gosh, a couple months ago, I ended up doing that and realizing that I was, you know, bobbing back and forth when I was walking. And so now I tuck my core in and I use my claw method that you taught me with my toes. And I'm walking, you know, a little bit more consistently and evenly and without that bopping back and forth that could put uneven pressure on each hip. So I suggest that for everyone.
Yeah, walking is a skill that no one ever teaches us.
Yep.
Yes,
So number 4, let's go on to chapter 4 or your 4th point.
Number 4 is the big one. Fix your footwear, shoes, and socks. If you have PAD, you do not want anything whatsoever restraining the flow of blood and tissue fluids through your feet. You want the blood to be able to get in, flow through your feet and reach the end of your toes, get back into the venous system and return to your heart without resistance. Now, there's nothing worse than squeezing anything to stop flow through that anything. And that is definitely true of your feet. Hang on, my soup's boiling over.
Uh-oh. He is multitasking.
Yeah. Well, I'm having to cook everything because the fridge went down. So
no.
I'm cooking anything that will go off. Anyway, that's okay. I fixed it.
I'm sure that everybody wants to know while you took that little break there, what you eat to actually fuel your workouts.
Yeah, it's a vegetable stew containing all sorts of vegetables, and then I had some of that Impossible Burger meat I use for burgers, which is plant-based and really does taste like meat. If you have a craving, it tastes like meat because it contains heme, which I think they isolate from peas. And so that was going off because it was in the freezer, or would have. So I added that to the vegetable stew, which of course is still all vegetable matter. So I got this very full pot. And now the dog wants to go outside. Come on, are you going to go out? No, he just wants me to open the door. Okay, so anyway, I was talking about fixing your footwear. You want a wide toe box, but you don't want your feet slopping around in the shoes because that will make you unstable. So they need to be comfortable, but plenty of room for your toes and the front of your feet to spread out. And don't wear tube socks. It's much cheaper to make socks as a tube on a machine. Whereas if you want to shape the sock according to a human foot, so it's wider at the end, that's more expensive. And so if you have a tube sock, even though it's compressing your foot, this tiny little bit at the front of your foot, that adds up when you're wearing them all day. And once I got rid of tube socks, that made a huge difference. So wide toe box, no tube socks, and make sure your shoes are comfortable, your feet can spread, but not slop around. And so if I look around at people's feet, most people, I don't know, they cram their feet into tiny shoes because they want them to look right. And I don't care about looking right. I care about comfort. But if you have P.A.D., having the right shoes and socks could be really, really important. So that's number 4.
And I know that when you talked about the wide toe box shoes, we do have Dr. David Alper, who's a world-renowned podiatrist, who says the exact same thing and agrees with your assertions. And what's really helpful with the wide toe box shoes, not only giving your toes more room when you walk, but also it gives you the ability to be able to claw your way. We were just on a road trip and I was wearing these wide toe box shoes and I was able to sit in the car and I was able to actually claw the bottom of the shoe just to give my calf and my toes and my foot a little bit of a workout to help, stimulate the circulation. So I definitely suggest it. And Kevin, can you just, while we're here at this moment with, and I'm talking about the clawing, how is it, what's the mechanism of action by which when you claw, which is so interesting to me, I feel it in my calf. And you would think that I would be able to do 100 of these, like you do the P.A.D 100, which is the flexing point. But with these, sometimes I'm actually fatigued at like 20 to 25 of them. And it hurts. I can actually feel it later.
Yeah, you're not pointing. You have to forget pointing. You're spreading. You're spreading your toes and then contracting your feet. Spreading your toes, contracting your feet. You contract them on the ground. You spread them when they're off the ground. And that comes from spreading your toes to spread your metatarsals in your feet. And so I'll come to the details of that. That's number 8. That's chapter number 8 in my training plan, because that is a hard thing for people to understand. And the really important thing is to really comprehend what I'm saying. I had to work this out. So there are blood vessels, arteries that run between those long bones in your feet. So if you compress your foot, you're compressing those arteries. So if you spread your toes, you spread those long bones in your feet, and that leaves more room for these arteries for the blood to come through without resistance. So that's the spreading part when your feet are off the ground. Now there are these muscles in the bottom of your feet, and that's all shown pictures in the book, whatever. And so when you contract those muscles to do what Kym calls clawing, you're contracting them. When you contract a muscle, you drive the blood out of the muscle towards the venous system. And because the veins have valves in them, the blood that goes up can't come back, which means as you spread your foot out or doing the contraction, the blood can't come back from the venous side. It has to come in from the arterial side, which means it's reducing resistance to flow of blood into your foot. And that mechanism is described in great detail in my videos, and it starts on chapter 8. I even made a video comparing the action of the foot to a diaphragm pump, which I think helps. Anybody got any other questions on that?
No, but I love that. It has actually changed so much for me. And I appreciate that. I can't believe that no one ever in any of the physical therapy sessions, any of the physical therapists that we've had on, no one's ever talked about the power of the toes and the power of exercising and strengthening the toes. And I think that for anyone who's watching this, if there's no other reason to pick up this book, which I know that there are many, just the focus on the power of your toes and what you can do to strengthen them is so important, because the first things you lose when it comes to PAD, your toes. So let's start there. Let's start strengthening them. And that's really important.
So, Kym, the fact you struggle to do the 100 means there's a lot of training needed in your feet for spreading, especially for spreading your toes. And most of the spreading action comes from your calves, muscles in your calves. And so you'll find, I find, or found at first when I started doing this, that the soleus muscle and the tibialis anterior, which is the shin splint muscle, like the anterior shin splint muscle, they had a hard time at first. I had to work up to 100. As I did in the Pilates 100, where I got the idea of 100. I mean, 100 is just an arbitrary number because we have 10 digits on our hands. It'd be better if it was base E or base pi, but let's not get into that. And so, yeah, you work up to it, get the strength, and then you get enough strength to spread your toes to let the blood flow through, and you get enough strength in the bottom of your feet to contract the muscles in your feet to drive the blood out of your feet again. And then you're turning your feet into what I call remote blood pumping stations.
And you can see that Douglas, he's in our live studio audience. He has his camera turned on his feet. And I love that he takes advantage of this moment to do this in front of you, Kevin, so that he has a live coach. You're willing to help and you're here to help. So those who join our live studio audience on a weekly basis, or even right here on youtube.com/the @ the way to my heart, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Kevin's channel at youtube.com/the @ fit old dog. You get some personal coaching. So take a look at what Douglas is doing. For those of you who are in our live studio audience, you can actually see it, but Kevin will describe it, and maybe you could offer him some affirmation as to whether he's doing it right, or you could offer him some tips on how to improve.
He's pushing his foot into the ground when he's trying to spread his toes, and that will spread your toes, but you need to do that when your foot leaves the ground. And when you contract your foot, you're contracting mainly your toes and not so much the rest of your foot. So he needs to improve that. So there's two changes he can make it work better. And he can practice that. Doing it on a solid surface is harder than doing it free. It takes quite a bit of practice, but he's made progress, that's for sure.
That's fantastic. He was one of those that the doctors said, hey, there's nothing, we could do. And you just have to walk, walk, walk. You're not really a surgical candidate. And it's incredible what he's been able to accomplish. And he takes all of your advice to heart. And just remember, speaking of advice, always check with your own healthcare provider. I know you love this part, Kevin, the little disclaimer to make sure that you recognize that this is for educational and informational purposes only. Do not act on any information that is provided here without explicit consent from your own healthcare team that knows your situation best. But if you're going to take your health into your own hands, this is a great place to start taking notes and presenting them to your doctor to have them confirm whether this program is right for you.
Yeah, educating doctors is challenging. Many doctors don't listen. I wait until I find a doctor who listens and I stick with them. But let's not get into that, because I'm a veterinarian and veterinarians have always been at war with doctors, so no big deal. So let's go on to the number 5. After we've got better shoes and no tube socks.
Right.
I know Doug likes the wool socks. He says those are working well, and that's what I wear in my hiking boots. So number 5, spread toes and feet with yoga toes. Now, there's an excellent video I made about 12 years ago with Rebecca Amos Lawson, one of my body movement coaches and trainers, and that will show you how to use yoga toes. So if you can't spread your toes if they don't want to spread, and so it's like anything, you have to train your body by, it's like stretching a muscle, right? You gently try and get it to lengthen, and yoga toes will help you spread those toes to get your feet wider so the blood can flow through your feet. And once you've done enough of the yoga toes, you'll find you can spread your toes without them. But you have to learn how to do that. And the first thing you have to do is get your feet out of those horrible tight shoes and socks and start spreading your toes so they feel comfortable. And you will add an enormous amount of flexibility and strength to your feet. And it all starts with your feet, this whole P.A.D thing, because what are you going to lose first? Your toes and then your feet. So why don't you bring your toes and feet in to help you with this work? Yoga toes are a great way to do that. And there's a video linked in my training plan. You click on the link, it takes you straight there, and you can watch Rebecca Amos Lawson, a body movement teacher, professional dancer who co-authored a couple of my books, showing you how to use yoga toes and how to get your feet moving properly. So I really love working with her. And so that's number 5 in the book.
And we do have a comment, PT103 on YouTube. So always those who are on YouTube, our amazing producer Josh is right there to gather your questions. But PT103, I had the feeling that they had this question a little bit before you started into chapter 5. But the toe separators, when exercising their feet, they kind of have a little question mark on toe separators when we're exercising.
No, no, you don't.
Not when you're actually exercising.
No, absolutely not. This is a mistake people make. In fact, they actually sell products to separate your toes that wrap around your feet and stop your metatarsal spreading. People are missing this whole point. No, you're using the yoga toes to get your feet to spread so they're comfortable, and then you practice spreading your toes without the yoga toes. But no way do you wear toe separators. I don't recommend it while you're walking and moving around, because if you have toe separators on, how are you going to bring your toes and contract your feet to drive the blood out? It's going to resist that movement. So no, yoga toes are simply for off the ground training. I don't use them. I don't walk around in them. I use them for getting my toes stretched apart and the soft tissues flexible and able to separate those metatarsals. But no, not while I'm working out. I don't do that. I mean, for instance, when I go for a swim and I need strong upper body, I don't carry 2 20-pound weights in my arms when I'm swimming. It makes no sense. I mean, it would take me to the bottom, right? Same idea with yoga toes. You don't wear them when you're exercising. Not at all. I guess I answered
Fantastic. That. Yes, you did. It was very well. Chapter 6, or your 6th point that you make in your book.
Okay, chapter 6, flex your toes. So you have to learn to flex your toes, because now we can spread our toes, and now we have to learn to flex our toes. And we do that by picking up a towel, with our toes. And before you're flexing your whole foot, learn to flex your toes. And if you feel your calves, you'll feel you're contracting muscles in your calves. And what that does is it improves venous return, dramatically improves venous return by contracting around the veins in your calf and reducing resistance to flow out of your foot, which reduces resistance to flow of fresh blood into your foot. So learning to flex your toes is a step on the road to flexing your whole foot, which comes later. But the toe flexion is important for calf contraction to improve venous return. And it's
okay, and we have Douglas that's trying to pick up. Can you coach him through picking up that towel?
I can't see his towel. I can't.
Oh, he got it. Look at he got it. So if you're in the live studio audience, you could see.
Oh yeah,
he got the towel. He picked it up with his toes. Good job, Douglas.
Yeah, if you do that, it'll also offset the risk of shin splints. That is one of the well-known treatments for shin splints in beginning runners. And that's usually anterior shin splints are due to strain of the tibialis anterior muscle. And picking up towels with your toes is a classic remedy for that problem to strengthen your tibialis muscles. So, but most importantly for me, it improves venous return because we're worried about blood flow. We don't want pressure backup in the system. So you can improve flow of blood into your feet by making it easier for blood to flow out of your feet. It's just plumbing. It's just plumbing.
Okay, I love that. Some people also talk about picking up marbles, and I don't like the marble thing because I would be nervous that maybe you miss a marble and then the marble still remains on the floor and then you end up tripping over that marble or slipping on that marble and you're in trouble. So
I know
I
that there's a
I like
different
the idea of a towel.
there's a different reason for not using a marble. If you try
Okay.
to pick up a marble, what you're going to do is contract your foot in around the marble, right? You're going to cause it to curl in because you're trying to pick up a marble. You're not
Oh,
trying to,
yeah, yeah.
so it's going to totally change the exercise. You,
Gotcha.
you like,
Different
but
mentality.
if you pick up a towel, your foot stays straight as you pick up that towel. Pick up a
Um,
marble, you're going to bring your foot in, kind of roll it
Good
in.
point.
So therefore, a marble's a bad idea.
Yeah, we had someone else who was an athletic trainer, and this person was telling everyone in our network that they should be picking up marbles. But that is a really great point. So the towel is the way to go. And even if you're in the hospital, and we have quite a few patients right now that are in the hospital that are saying they won't let them get up and walk. So this is something that you can even do when you're sitting in bed. You can do it with your knee bent, and you can actually do that. And Douglas is demonstrating one of the other exercises that he likes to do when he's in the hospital. If they won't let him get up, he sits on the side of the bed and he just moves his feet back and forth.
Whatever works. And we're all
Yep.
different. We are all different.
Yep.
Anyway, that's improving venous return by flexing your toes. Number 7, undertake low impact walking program. Now, this is loaded with complexity. Okay, you've got to do a walking program. Remember back in 2015 when I saw my vascular surgeon and he said, Kevin, I can't do anything for your P.A.D. You need to start walking. And he told me, he didn't tell me anything about how to walk. He told me that I should walk for 3 times 30 minutes a week, which, come on, that's not enough. I mean, 2 weeks later, I ran a marathon up in Maine, which again, I finished in about 7 hours and came in last. That's when I knew I had to take this more seriously. So I researched it. In order to grow collaterals, and that is the objective of walking, of the walking programs, you have to do a whole lot more than that. You have to really push it. You got to understand, you have to think like an endurance athlete. And why do I say that? Because P.A.D. is with us 24/7. The damn thing never gives up. It's constantly trying to get worse. And so this isn't a 100-yard dash. This is constant marathons, ultra marathons to fight P.A.D. So you have to think in that kind of a way. So in order to run a marathon, you can't sprint a marathon. You have to pace yourself. So pacing yourself is important. And I can see that Matt is pacing himself nicely there. Hi, Matt. Anyway, so number 1, you have to walk and walk as much as you can handle. But number 2, why low impact? Well, once again, there's a video linked to that book. If you land on your heels, which most people have a tendency to do, and modern running shoes with a big heel pad encourage that, that is a really bad idea because now you're sending a shock wave as your heel hits the ground up your leg, which is counter to the systolic pressure wave driving blood down your leg. So that's clearly not a good idea. But also at the same time, you're damaging joints in your ankles, your knees, and even your hips. So low impact running or low impact walking, it's the same problem. And the solution is a really strong shoulder hip counter rotation. So if you have your hips here and your shoulders there, they need to be doing this. They need to be going in opposite directions. So when your right shoulder comes forward, your left foot goes back and you're causing your spine to, it kind of spiral springs. And so you're loading the spine. And I guess the best place to learn that is Danny Dreyer's stuff on chi running. It's pretty good. He also has a book on chi walking. I respect Danny Dreyer's stuff. I met him in a race one time. Zero ego, a really nice man. Ego gets in the way of so many damn things, but forget about ego. So first you need to walk, and then you need to work out how you're walking, and you do that by watching how you walk. And then watch children run and watch athletes walk and run, and try to improve your approach to low impact movement to minimize the stress on your muscles, on your feet, and also on your joints. So that takes a bit of practice, but if you don't even think about it, you're going to still keep slamming on your heels, which is a really bad idea. If you watch people walk, you never see two people walk the same. Some are like drunks and sailors. Some have stiff legs, like, you know, I don't know, like those soldiers we had when we were toys, you know, lead soldiers, moving their legs stiff and straight. Others do really weird things with their hips. What you really need to do is to walk with your whole body. And for that, get that book by Jack Hagee, Running with the Whole Body, 30 exercises. If you work through those exercises in that book, you'll move completely differently and much more efficiently. So number one, walk. Number two, improve your walking biomechanics. And you do that being aware of what the hell you're doing. So that is number 7.
Yeah, you know, I love it. It's so important, because remember about a month ago, you told me, I mentioned about my hip pain when I walk, my hip starts bothering me. And you're clawing, you're just focusing on how you're walking, making sure you know, implementing the strategies that you're talking about. I've been able to alleviate the hip pain, but I was just noticing the hip pain just now because I wasn't paying attention. And so a big part of it is you have to be conscious of how you're walking. You can't quite lose yourself, because you'll lose until it becomes habit to do things in the right way. You have to literally tell your body to do things the right way, a little bit more consciously. And so now I'm back doing things the right way, and woo, my hip pain went away, which is amazing.
So after a while, and I think this is chapter 11 or 13 or some damn thing, once you really master it, you have to practice enough, like practicing driving a car, so it becomes a conditioned reflex. And that takes time. And once you've done it enough, you'll just, I don't even think about moving my toes and my feet and all that stuff we've been talking about. My feet just do it automatically. I look down, there they are doing it. I don't think about it, but I've been doing this now for a few years. So anyway, that's the
Next
end.
chapter.
That's the end of the beginner section of the training
Okay.
plan. And now if you made it that far, you move on to intermediate, which is training your feet for walking. This isn't about how you walk, because you're going to be walking anyway, but now you have to train your feet for walking. And so you have to fully understand how you flex your entire foot to pump blood out of your feet, through your feet, and improve basically perfusion of blood through your feet while you're walking. So mastering this while you're lying in bed is one thing. Mastering it while you're walking and maintaining low impact at the same time and not straining your feet, this is tricky. And so that is number 8. You have to flex your feet for pumping blood, which also means spreading your feet when they leave the ground. So you have to learn this process of spread when you're off the ground, contract onto the ground, gently pull. Everything has to be soft and gentle. I mean, it seems when you say claw, it seems kind of hard. It has to be gentle, it has to be soft, and it has to be effective. And so you build this picture in your mind. I mean, I've been doing it for so long. I do it when I run. I don't even think about it now. But chapter number 8 is learning how to flex your whole foot for pumping blood while you're walking. That's number 8.
How are you doing on that, Mike? Are you following this one? He's out there walking. He's in our live studio audience. How are you following that one for chapter 8?
I have actually been doing a little bit of flexing of my feet while I'm walking up until I've just been to the store again, shopping. So yeah, I find that I don't find that I'm automatically doing it like Kevin does because we've been doing it for so long. But if I put my mind to it, I get my feet doing all these movements while I'm walking. I kind of wiggle my toes as well as claw them. And sorry, I'm a little bit out of breath. The weather is horrendous. It's so hot.
Oh, that's good. Anyway, it takes a while. Imagine when you learn to drive a car. You know, you drive a car and you watch your kid learn to drive a car and they turn a corner and they do this and they're holding the wheel and then they're coming back and then bringing the wheel back. Whereas basically when they bring the wheel back, they just let go of the damn wheel and it straightens up on its own. They have to control the rate of turn. And so you do that now while you're drinking a coffee and talking to a friend. You don't even think about it. You're doing that skill. And it's the same thing with using your feet when you walk. And if you're lucky, run. You've got to put in the time. And once you put in the time, you'll get the benefit and you will keep your toes. They won't turn black. They won't be chopped off, and it makes this whole thing worth doing. And people are out there having their toes chopped off right now because they can't improve their blood flow through their feet because they haven't been trained to do it. I had to work this out for myself, and I have medical training, body movement training. I'm an athlete, and it took me quite a long time to come to the point where I realized I could turn my feet into pumps. That didn't happen until about 3-4 years ago. I had that idea. Initially, I was very focused on low impact, whole body, relaxing my feet. I was thinking about spreading my feet with yoga toes, but the business of turning my feet into pumps, no one told me that. I just use logic because that's what I am. I mean, I've got Asperger's, so I use logic. I don't run around having feelings about it. It doesn't do any damn good. But that's a very Aspergery comment. But anyway, so of course nobody out there talks about this stuff because people put their feet in shoes. Look at the shoe industry, what it's done. The running shoes, they're designed to encourage you to land on your heel because they have a big heel pad, but it doesn't get rid of the impact wave and the knee damage. And so, you have to fight against what's done to make money as opposed to what's done to make health. They're always in conflict, always.
Always. So here's what I'm thinking. We have 2 more chapters to get to 10. We have 9 and 10. And then I'm thinking next week, we have a great teaser to get the last 10 chapters. And you said there's 20 chapters?
Yeah, there's 20, yeah.
Perfect. So I think we get the last 2 here, and then we do the next 10 next week and let everyone, maybe hopefully we'll be able to get some folks to get the book. They'll be able to follow along between this week and next week, and also come armed with some questions, even about the first 10 chapters that we're talking about today. So let's move on to chapter 9.
Yeah, when it comes to selling my books, I'd like to give them away for free, but I'm 82 on limited income. I spend quite a lot of money on buying URLs and dealing with all the mechanics of online marketing. My marketing budget is basically $300 a month, which is significant. It's half my health insurance bill. And so I'd like to give them away. And at the beginning of September, we could give away 10 copies or something. Some people will want the paperback, and I will make the paperback, but I prefer to get some feedback first. I see the paperback as being the same book, basically, with improvements from people's comments, but with blank pages or blank space so people can write notes. There's a table that comes with it, which I'll probably put as a PDF, and people can print it out and put it on their fridge, because I created the book along with a spreadsheet which has details of, I don't know if I can show you that. Hang on, let me see if I can show you that. I think I can. Beginner, getting going, prologue, there it is. Come on. Electronics, what a game. Supposed to make our life easier, I thought. Go away, silence call. Go away. People keep coming in and it's hard to stop them. No, Brendan Sturgeon, I don't want to talk to you, whoever the hell you are. Can you see this table? You see it?
We can see it. We can't, it's a little blurry, but
yeah, well,
we
of
can
course,
kind of see it. Yeah.
well, that table is in the book several places, and it lays out the progression in terms of weeks, which things you do on which weeks. And so I just thought I'd let you know that. Go away table. To return.
I think that same sheet's on your. Is it not on your Facebook page, that, Kevin?
Yeah, I put it out. I've made some changes recently, but yeah, if people put that on their fridge, they'll know where they are. And then I was thinking in the paperbacks, a lot of older people prefer paperbacks. They can keep notes and keep a record of what's been happening, because it is useful to keep a record. We forget things. Anyway, so Kym, flex your feet for pumping blood, number 8. You want me to do 9 and 10 or 9? Just 9.
One at a time is great.
Okay, under number 9 is master the P.A.D. 100 exercise correctly. If you don't do it correctly, if you don't understand what you're doing, if you don't understand you're pumping blood through your feet by contracting your feet to contract the muscles in your feet, and also flexing your toes in the same process, contracting muscles in your calves to improve venous return, you don't understand that the contraction phase is the phase of pumping blood out of your feet. And that is one of my videos. I compared the process to a diaphragm pump. I kind of like that video. Actually, it's very short, less than a minute, but it explains exactly what the hell you're doing. You're turning your feet into pumps. And then when you bring your foot off the ground, your foot's relaxed, of course. As it relaxes, you then spread your toes, which spreads your metatarsals, which helps blood flow back into your now spread and relaxed feet for the next cycle of pumping it back out. So you're turning your feet into a pump. And then to do that 100 times, first of all, I do it 20 times, and man, my feet or my calves would cramp up. And now I can do 100 times without even thinking about it. But once again, I said this is endurance training. That is an intensity exercise because it's only 100 times. But when you go for a walk, you're going to do the same thing thousands of times. So you have to learn how to do this in a way that's endurance. And that comes with practice. And so once you get it, you'll find you can turn your feet into pumps anytime as you're walking around or whatever. And so, I mean, I don't even think about it now, but you have to do it. The P.A.D. 100 is to get you to really understand what you're doing and doing it correctly. And you will then take that out onto trails or on the road. So that's number 9.
And if you go to youtube.com/the@fit old dog, that video on the P.A.D. 100, Kevin will do them alongside you. He does all 100 in the video. So save that video clip and then do it alongside him every single day. We know that Mike, who's joined our live studio audience, he's commented a little bit. He's on his walk. He just did his shopping and he's walking home. He does that every single day before he gets out of bed. And it's really helped him a lot.
Yeah, when I first started doing it, like Kevin said, for this, I get to like 20, 25, 30 maybe, and I had to stop and rest and then do the full 100 in kind of 20 intervals. But now after I've been doing it for, I think since Kevin first put the video out, actually, I think I just kind of jumped on that straight away. And I do 100 now every single morning. I do still get a little bit of cramp in the top of my foot when I get to like 90. But as long as you just carry on doing it and just get to the 100 and do it, you do feel a lot better after it. Definitely. Thanks,
I'm wondering, Kevin, if we could actually do a playlist for the P.A.D. 100 and you could do a gradual approach. There's like video 1 that, hey, just try 10 the first day. Video 2, this is your graduated step. Do 20, maybe do this video for a few days. Then the next one, you do the third video, which is maybe 50. You can double it and then double it to 100.
I guess it sounds like spoon feeding to me, but I mean, you have to, I don't know. Yes,
How you meet people where they are and guide them where you want them to be, which is at the 100 mark.
It's not very, yes, it's not very Aspergery, I must admit.
I love you.
Anyway,
okay, we'll move on to chapter 10. And there are 20 chapters in his book, and you can pick up his book on Amazon. It's the ebook right now, and if you are one of the early buyers of the book, he's just literally covering his costs. He's not trying to sell the books to make money. He's really trying to help you, and he's just covering his costs out there. So if you can, that would be great. If you need one donated, just call our Leg Saver hotline that is up here, and we'll go ahead and we'll get you one. Our organization will go ahead and donate one to anyone who does not have the money to pick up that book, because we really need a good group of early folks using this, giving Kevin feedback, so that when he is ready to do the actual paperback book, that he will have incorporated all of the feedback that all of the early adopters has sent him. He takes feedback really well. He loves it. He wants to hear from you. So make sure if you can pick up that book. And we're going to go into the next 10 chapters next week during our Collateral Nation. But let's wrap up with chapter 10 for this week.
Okay, chapter 10 is O2 Sats meter on toes to assess progress. That's the title of the chapter. I mean, you're limited to so many characters in a header. And so it sounds odd, but basically it's recommending using an O2 Sats meter on your toes to assess progress. And when I was writing this, at the same time, somebody contacted me who was concerned about their father, and it led to a very important lesson for me, which was somewhat counterintuitive based on the anatomy. So I'm still thinking about that. Anyway, an O2 sats meter is what they created for people when the COVID outbreak was occurring, in order to check that people weren't becoming anoxic or deficient in oxygen. And so if you put an O2 sats meter on your finger and you're having trouble getting enough oxygen through your lungs and into your blood supply, your your oxygen saturation will drop. So these O2 sats meters are about $30, something like that.
Yep.
And you put them on your finger. I mean, I had one around here somewhere. I don't know, it's somewhere around, I don't know where it is. Anyway, you put a little meter on your finger and it will read off both your pulse rate and your oxygen saturation level, which ideally needs to be above 96%, up to about 99. I've never seen it at 100. And so you can put it on your toes. I don't know anyone else. I had this idea and I recommended it in my first P.A.D. book written a couple of years ago. I've never heard anybody else show any interest in the idea except for people here. Anyway, so this person, so you can check in your
if you
toe.
take a look, Douglas has his up. So he has a 97. Check out his. He's in our live studio audience and he's using his
97%
oximeter.
oxygen saturation with a pulse of 65. Those are both fine. That's really good. If it drops below 90, you're starting to get into trouble. So this person called in, worried about her dad, and she described the problem. And she said that her father developed a lesion. Thank you, Doug. Developed a lesion. Doug's a really good straight man, you know. Keeps me on my toes, literally. Anyway, she described the problems of her dad, who used to be active all the time. And then he had a surgery and he couldn't even walk. My suspicion is that the surgery cut through a bunch of collaterals he'd already built, which is another story, but we'll talk about that another time, I guess. And he was having real trouble even walking. He was getting around the house, scooting around on a little scooter. He put his knee on for the bad leg, and then he'd scoot around on that. And so he was having real trouble getting around. And he had a lesion on the toe next to the little toe. Was this lesion about 2.5 centimeters long, like a big ulcer that wasn't healing, which is a definite sign of shortage of blood, which then leads, of course, to gangrene. And so she was very concerned. So I said, well, let me see what his O2 sats are on his toe. So she put the meter on what I call the middle toe, but it's functionally the middle of the toe, the one next to your big toe, I guess. It's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the middle toe. It's not the one next to the big toe. It's right in the middle. And she put it on there, and it came back at 98%. And I thought, well, that's odd. Maybe he doesn't have P.A.D. at all. And I thought that was kind of strange. It didn't fit. And so I said, well, could you put it on his little toe? Because he had 98 on the middle toe. You put it on his little toe. And she put it on. It was 89, which is really low. It was 89. So the little toe and the one next to it weren't getting enough blood. But the middle toe and the one next to that and the big toe clearly were. I then went in and looked at the anatomy of the feet. Remember, no two people's anatomy is the same any more than no two people's faces look the same. Internally, we're as different as we are externally. And the anatomy didn't make sense. You think that those will be the toes the least at risk. And it turns out, based upon pictures I've seen of gangrene in the feet of people with P.A.D., the little toe and the one next to it are at greater risk than the other toes in the foot. So clearly we have a lot to learn about the distribution of anoxia in the feet of people with P.A.D. That research may be out there, but I've not found it. And so this confirmed, because the little toe had a O2 sats of 89, clearly has P.A.D. Clearly the toe with the ulcer has a low oxygen delivery. It's ischemic. And so moving those toes is really important. And it also told me that when you're stretching your feet, focus your attention, or don't forget to focus your attention on your little toe. And I find my little toe and the one next to it are the ones I have the most trouble running, the most trouble I have walking, the most trouble I have spreading, because they want to pull in. And so those are ones I work on. And that's actually helped a lot with me getting around. So check your toes with O2 sats meters, but remember to check not just one of the toes, I would say check your middle toe and your little toe. There's a pity you can't get the meter on your big toe. There's no way you can. And so I recommend that. In addition, though, in the book, I talk about how you can assess the oxygen supply to your feet by the color of your feet, by reperfusion rate after you compress on a toenail, by feeling your pedal pulse, and all those variables in addition to the O2 sats meter are in that chapter.
Fantastic. Chapters 1 through 10 in Peripheral Artery Disease Training Plan for P.A.D. Heroes, from amputees to athletes, by Kevin Thomas Morgan. So when you're looking it up on Amazon, make sure you look up Kevin Thomas Morgan. I'm going to pull up the actual website so you can see the book on Amazon. I'm not sure if you can actually see it right now. Hopefully you can. But it is right there on Amazon. So go there. You can pick up the Kindle. It's only $7.95. As I said, if you can't afford it, you can go ahead and call our Leg Saver hotline right up here in the corner, and we'll donate one to you, okay, if you can't afford it. He's just trying to cover his costs. It's fantastic. It's a great training plan. Of course, it's for educational and informational purposes only. Do not act on any advice offered in this video or in the book without explicit consent from your own healthcare provider. That is incredibly important. So today we focused on chapters 1 through 10. We have kind of the Cliff Notes version here. You definitely want to pick it up to get the in-depth version of his book and all of the explanations through 1 through 10. And then next week, Collateral Nation, we are going to be talking about chapters 11 through 10. 11 through 20. Man, I can't walk, talk, and stream all at the same time here. I'm out of breath. I've been at this for more than an hour. I've gone more than 3 miles, and I'm out of breath. I'm really out of breath. And you can tell in my delivery, right, Kevin?
Yeah, but I understand. I mean, you talk all day, I think, don't you? Isn't that exhausting? The way you deal
And
with all I couldn't
Wednesday is
handle
our
it.
busiest day.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, we have the Collateral Nation, which is incredible. And then we have our UK, our United. Oh yes, thank you. That's our YouTube. That's the voice of God. That is our producer, Josh. Um, he keeps us in line and he helps to gather all those comments. So when you join via YouTube, that's Josh behind the wheel there and driving those comments and your questions straight into our live stream so that Kevin can answer your questions. So always make sure, give a big thank you to Josh, and always make sure to engage, because we like him to be busy doing that. It's a lot more fun to get your comments, to get the feedback, to see the engagement. And that's what Kevin wants, right? You want the feedback. The feedback is what helps you and it drives you forward in all of your training plans that you've developed and continue to develop for people with PAD.
Yeah, this is the early days. I mean, all I got from my doctor was you need to walk 3 times a week. Well, that obviously wasn't enough. And yet he's an excellent endovascular surgeon. He really knows his stuff. And so there's a paucity of this information out there. And I think what we really need are trained peer experts, people who can pass the right information on to other patients. And we need to have the physicians interested in using such people to help their patients, because there's right now a big disconnect. I meet very, very few patients I can talk to. They come through here. Otherwise, nobody. There's one guy at the gym I mentioned in my book who has one leg amputated from the knee down due to an infection in the hospital. And he was an 88-year-old guy working out on an elliptical trainer. And I'm like, 88 years old, working on an elliptical trainer, full-time job as a photographer. These are
Wow.
the kind of people that can inspire us to have a life, I was impressed by that.
Yep. And that's why I love our group, our incredible network. We have more than 7,000 potential peer experts in our group. We have quite a few that are in our group. We have, for example, Marcia that's out there. She has, she's had a popliteal blockage for a long time. She's out there pushing through the pain and maintaining her hikes and maintaining her lifestyle, just pushing through, developing those collateral vessels. You have John, who is a sheriff over in the North Carolina region. And he had a fasciotomy. Doctors told him the next step was cutting off his leg. And he was like, nope, I am turning to the gym instead. And he not only walked his way to keeping his leg, even still today, years later, but he has gotten back on the force. And so he's a force to be reckoned with. And also VJ, who said, you know what, you're not going to stop me, doctor. I am going to continue to do my hikes. I'm going to live my life. If you can't do anything, I will. And she continues to literally climb mountains. And she goes across Europe and she
She's one of
tackles
my
different mountains all the
inspirations.
time. She's pretty incredible,
Yeah,
isn't she, Mike?
yeah, she is an inspiration to me. She is one of the reasons why I get up every day and go on my walks every single day.
Yep.
She's from England and she's done all the hikes that I want to go on in England. She's done the Wainwright to 214 hills, top cliff tops in the Lake District. She's done every single one of them. I did a hike a couple of years ago where I went up a mountain called Mam Tor in
Yeah.
Manchester, and I know that VJ has done it previously as well. Yeah, she is. She's great, and so is John. John Dent is such a machine. If you look through his
And
profile, he is a
and
machine.
you're an inspiration too, Mike. I mean, as much from when you
No,
first
no.
came into our network to now, you're doing amazing. And I know you struggle still, physically and emotionally on a daily basis, but you still get out and do it. You still are moving. Maybe some days are better than others, right? But you're out there and you're sharing the
Oh yeah.
pictures of you. And we love your partner, Jordy. I love Jordy.
Yeah.
Every
And he loves you
single
guys as well.
day. And then we have Douglas. Douglas, you are also a force to be reckoned with. And during the course of this entire show, he's been showing us how it's done. Everything that Kevin's been talking about, he's been trying to demonstrate. But it's amazing because, Douglas, you as well, doctors told you, hey, there's nothing we can do. And the last ultrasound that you had, you got some really good news. And you know that had nothing to do with the doctors. Every bit of what you were told in that meeting was all you. It was what you did, taking your P.A.D. health into your own hands. You got to unmute.
Eating right, stop smoking, walk, walk, walk. Number one, walk, walk, walk. And the rest of it is like icing on the cake. So, yes, building a tiny house in the process of everything.
Yeah, I love that. You're definitely an inspiration. So, as Kevin said, it's important to have solid peer experts. And I think that, Kevin, having you in the group has been incredible to help develop great peer experts like even Douglas and Mike and VJ and John. I mean, we all push each other to push forward, to push forward, to push forward, offering tips and tricks and providing the inspiration that people need along the way. The one thing that we want everyone to understand is that everyone presents at different times in different ways. And so no two people are in the same place at the same time. People always ask us about starting walking groups for PAD patients in their area. And I think that's the worst idea possible. I think that what you need to do is not walk with other PAD patients, because one of you is actually going to end up paying the price for the other, because each one of you needs to walk at a different pace to maximize your collateral vessel growth. And if one person may need to stop at one point, the other person has to stop with you, and they may not have the luxury to be able to do so when it comes to their health. They may need to just walk, 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 and continually walk. So what we always suggest, and Kevin, I think you might agree, it's finding someone that you can rise up to. And as Douglas has done actually in the past, is he joined a 5K group that meets every Monday. You have different people at different speeds, and they pair you with a partner who doesn't have any sort of health issues that you can walk with right, Kat? Right, Douglas?
I
That
had a
will help you
partner
to rise
for
up.
I had a partner for every walk except two, but I was like I felt like Kevin did for I think for a moment there. I finished last in just about every one I finished. Most people were all gone, but the whole point was to finish it. I
Yep.
finished it. I finished it. I finished every single one of them, and the mental aspects of finishing helped me a lot because I got I did it. I did it. I got it done. Even though it took me the time it took me and I finished last, I still finished it.
Yeah, I'm
That
used to
felt
getting there. I'm
that
used to
felt
getting there
really
lunch.
good.
All the food is gone. Everyone's leaving, but I finish. So who cares? And so I go and find some pizza in the store. Pizza is great after work out of his and ad.
That's fantastic. Well, see, Kevin, do you see there's such a difference, in the group since you've been more active and the tips that you're providing and doing these sessions. I mean, even just seeing, what Douglas is doing and what Mike is doing on a weekly basis, it's incredible. And that's really, thanks to your inspiration. So we really appreciate you joining us every single week and committing to this, taking a break from your own training for the marathons. What's your next marathon, Kevin?
No, my next race is the White Lake Half Ironman in May. I'm going to spend the whole winter trying to improve my running because
Yeah.
that's what kills my races. The bike is fine, the swim is fine. So it's the White Lake Half Ironman that I trained a friend of mine for last year, and she did really well. And I've got to get my run. I've got to master running with P.A.D. And with no blood coming through my popliteal arteries, and I'm getting there. It's a matter of hydrodynamics or hemodynamics. So I'm working on that. Next race is I'll do local runs, but the next real race is the White Lake Half Ironman, which I've done before 4 or 5 times. It's a perfect race for a beginner. It's low key. The people are really nice. And then if I can come in under 8:30 at that race, then I'll do the Wilmington race again that got me to Worlds in 2023. But I've got to come in under 8:30. In the Boston Marathon, the qualifiers are set by age. In the Ironman, there is no allowance for age. I mean, I was in the World Half Ironman Championships in Finland. There were only 7 people in the world who qualified for that. There were 4,000 men in that race because they had to do men and women separately who managed to qualify. So I
Yeah.
was in with 4,000 other athletes who qualified, but very, very few. There were 7 in my age group, 80 to 84, of which only 3 managed to finish, and I came in third. And 4 of them didn't even manage to finish because the race was really tough. I think half Ironmans, they should have an age allowance of for age groups 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90 with a little bit more time. But whether they'll do that, I don't know, because the Ironman Association has a stick up its butt. But that's another nice way of putting it, isn't it? They think about they just think about the winners. They only care about the winners, and yet it's not the winners who pay for the race. It's all us also rans that pay our fees and cover all the costs. But it's surprising how little notice they take of the people at the back. But I did notice that young people watching get very excited when they see some 80-year-old person finishing the race, especially if it's a woman. They get very excited because they realize they can do this sport for another 60 years. So we play an important role, and Doug is doing the right thing. Get there uninjured at the start and finish, even if you're finishing really late and everyone's gone home. So what? You finish the damn thing, and now you can go and enjoy your dinner. So it's, I think the people at the back of the pack are often the nicest people, and some of them are really admirable. Many of them have serious physical problems, but they're there. You encourage them along, and it's there's a lot of camaraderie back there. It's pretty neat. So Doug's doing the right thing.
Can I share this with you, Kevin, about this process? And think about this. I'm 63. I've been walking since I don't know, maybe 62 years now. Never really thought about my walking. I developed P.A.D. and I'm told to walk, walk, walk. So I get out and I walk, walk, walk. But through what you're doing and what we're learning and sharing with each other now is I'm learning to walk properly that will actually help my P.A.D. and my strength and my walking habit, because learning the right way to walk, learning the right techniques. And how many people out there with P.A.D. don't know about the toes or the calf and how much that can improve our ability to do things? And what you're teaching us now will make a difference in the next 5K I do, because it is. I never really thought about moving my right foot forward and my right shoulder going back, the opposite, so I can improve my walking habit and my walking skill. If I learn to do that, the next 5K is going to be easier to do. Then the next one will be easier to do, and the next one will be easier to do. Because if I put that with my toe movement when I'm walking, look how I'm improving, and that's what you're giving back to us, is the ability to improve my physical ability to walk all around with all these techniques I'm trying to learn. And it is difficult to think about. All right, Doug, move your right foot, your shoulder, left foot, your shoulder, your right foot, your shoulder. So I can improve my walking, because I never really thought about it.
Yeah, well, Doug, I learned this from other people who taught me. I had some wonderful coaches and body movement people. I didn't make it up. I had to learn from somebody, and they learned from somebody else. And, in a way, sitting on the shoulders of giants is right. It's right in this respect as much as it is in physics or anything else. We learn from other people. I had some great coaches who helped me get over heel striking and learn how to eat and all that kind of stuff for races. And so all we're doing, we're passing on the wisdom of others, which is really, it's a kind of an honor in a way.
The heel striking, is that like throwing hand grenades every time you throw your foot out there and you go bam, bam?
It's landing
Bam.
on your heel. Yeah, you don't want to land on your heel. If you have a significant shoulder hip counter rotation, it forces your foot to come in from the side and then land down on the foot. And the last thing to hit the ground is your heel. And once you master that, but doing it gently and softly, ideally as you get older with a low impact style, which is a high cadence, short stride, you minimize that. There's a note here from Josh. He has a question.
Yep. That's actually me. I'm putting in a question for Josh, because right after this, just for folks that want to go to foxla.com, our dietitian for our network, dietitian Melissa, is going to be going live talking about food as medicine. And it's something that you also talk about as well. And it's about, you need to, great, you can go out and exercise, but you need to add the right fuel to your body in order to maximize your exercise and your collateral vessel growth as well.
Exactly. That's one of the variables that's really important.
So I think we wrap up here. This has been absolutely incredible. Again, make sure you go to Amazon and look up Kevin Thomas Morgan. And to get his latest book, it's available on Kindle at the moment. He wants your feedback now. I love that I keep entering book, like paper book versus paperback. And then I did it again just now. I'm just thinking book, get the book. But if you can't afford the book, again, go ahead and call our Leg Saver hotline up here in the corner, and we will, the Global P.A.D. Association will go ahead and get a couple copies, and we'll send the ebook your way. Just let us know. Just send us a message, give us a call. It's private. No one publicly will know. We'll just take care of it for you. And I think it just goes to show that, you know what, it's not about money. It's about helping you to live the best quality of life you can. And when doctors say there's nothing they can do, well, where they leave off is where you become the best partner in your care and developing your best P.A.D. training plan, which actually works best for you. Thank you so much, Kevin Morgan, Kevin Thomas Morgan. Next week, today, we talked about the first 10 chapters of his book. He gave us the Cliff Notes version. Next week, we are going to talk about the next 10, and we're going to get you signed up for P.A.D. Awareness Month and our 30-day 5K. Thanks everyone for joining us. Don't forget, when you leave this video, like it and subscribe to our channels. Don't forget, don't forget, don't forget. Call the hotline if you have any questions, and go to inspirationalselfhelpbooks.com to interact with Kevin as well. He answers all questions that come his way.
Thanks, Kym.
Well, if you haven't got a Kindle, can you download it onto your phone?
Yeah, you can read it on the phone with just a reader. You can get a Kindle reader for free, and you read it in the Kindle reader. You just download it. When you buy it, it lands in your phone in your Kindle library, and there it is, and it works really well. I mean, I read all my books that way. I mean, I don't have paper books anymore; too heavy to carry around. Yeah, and it just works if you're used to it. It's not a problem. If there's a struggle, let me know. You can also share your library. Like my partner Sue shares my library, and she can read any of the hundreds of books on my Kindle library. But I also try to sell these books on Barnes and Noble and other sites. It takes a while to get there, but I do that. Here's the postman, so the dogs are going to go crazy.
Okay, that's a good place to end. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a great week.